record, I think everyone will have to give their DNA sample to approve it.
What happens if you don't approve? Do you just get kicked off the meeting? Is that what happens?
Well, I think just depending on which computer you have, it provides a shock.
Oh, okay.
And then something about your house is going to glow from outer space. Scott told me.
I'll have to test that.
Yeah.
Like auto eject.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So I guess here we go. I mean, we're going to have some people that'll continue to join us, and I'm glad to see them. But I am really happy today, excited today, because Christy Budnick, who's been our CEO for a number of months now, has agreed to join us, even with your busy, crazy schedule. And I want to do something a little different today. I'd like to, in lieu of kind of reading a fixed introduction, one of the things I'm most enthralled with, Christy, is that you're one of us. You've been in the trenches for a long time in the real estate game, and that, to me, and I know to many others, is refreshing. To have at the very top of the leadership chain someone with your kind of experience. So I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about your path to this place.
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to. And first, I just want to thank you, Jay and Brian, so much for inviting me to be with your team today. It's so good to meet all of you virtually, and I really look forward to meeting you at convention. It's going to be just off the charts exciting this coming year. So my background is, my family was a military family, and my father was in the Navy. And so the first a little over 10 years of my life, we spent moving a lot. Wow, there I am.
Sorry, that always tends to get.
It's like, yeah. Whoa.
Welcome.
See, I'm normally on my treadmill desk behind me, but I thought that might be rude if you saw me walking. So,
well, you've been killing it with those steps. You told me.
I have. It is a game changer. I'm doing 15 to 20,000 steps or more every single day now.
Wow.
So, yeah, because there's a lot of Zoom meetings in my new position, Right. So,
but yeah, sorry about that change there.
No, that's good. That's good. So when we moved to Jacksonville, we came back from Japan actually, and moved to Jacksonville. And my mother, she had wanted to get her real estate license for a long time. And part of that was, and for the same reason many of you probably chose to get yours, when we had moved to certain cities, my family had decided to purchase real estate, even to hold on to it, as rental properties when we would leave, because we did leave very quickly. We weren't in any one place very long at all. But she had had a number of experiences that were less than positive. And so she thought, you know what, I can do this better. I can do it differently. So when we moved back to Jacksonville, I was 10 then, but by 11, she had achieved her real estate license. Okay. And she was at that time a single mom of 2 young girls. And so my sister and I, we became the marketing department. We were the open house committee. We helped to measure houses. We were stuffing envelopes, whatever needed to be done. It was really a family business. And that's one of the things I really love about this business too, is even today, it's the same thing. You might be doing things a little bit differently, but it's still very much family oriented.
Yes.
And so from 11 until the time I went to college, we were free labor. I say that laughingly because obviously my mother worked really, really hard.
Sure.
But she started off in general real estate. Then she became the head of relocation for one of our largest companies here in Jacksonville, and then moved from there to site work, heading up a site development on one of the DuPont family properties. Yeah, it was really, really special. And so by 1988, when I went to college and she started our Prudential franchise, there was truly one thing that I knew for sure. And that was that I was going to college and I was never going to get into real estate. I was done. My career, I had already put 7 years in, and I felt that I had done enough real estate. And
famous last words, right?
I know, right? So I went through college and came out, and I didn't get into real estate right away. I ended up getting into mortgage lending.
Hmm.
And so, something similar, and really enjoyed that, and did that for about 3 years. And then one of the things that I realized was every time I would go to some kind of a training seminar for sales training, leadership training, et cetera, I really enjoyed it, number one, but I'd come back and I'd implement the things, and I'd of course do even better in my job. And so a position came available in the training department. And this is where you all are going to go, well, I don't know that we have the right CEO in place, because I went from making just over $100,000. And keep in mind, this was 1995 at this time, to accepting a position for $38,000 in the training department. And here's why I did it. And this is one of those lessons, I think, for me, this is the path that I believe that led me here.
Mhm.
I was terrified of public speaking. I was the person who, when you'd put me up in front of a group, my hands would shake, my head would sweat, my voice was just crazy, go up and down. And I thought, you know what, I can't live like this. I've got to get over this, because I saw my mother in business and she was constantly up in front of people. And so in my mind, in order to be successful, I had to be able to speak to people in groups. And so I did it. And I definitely wasn't, thank you. I definitely wasn't the best person that interviewed, but I later asked my boss at that time, why did you select me? And he said that I wanted it the most. And he was right. So that was really a fun time. And I spent about 6 years in consumer finance for a number of banks that kept gobbling one another up. Bank Boston is where I started. So I was somewhat up in your neck of the woods. I'd spend a lot of time in Boston. And then we were purchased and purchased and purchased. And finally, it was Bank of America. And every time we were purchased, I'd get a promotion. And so I ended up leading the sales and leadership training for consumer finance for Bank of America across the US.
Wow.
And it was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of travel. And so during this time, my mom and we kept having discussions about real estate. I'd get together with her and we'd start talking about business. And I mean, we've always lived very close to one another. So, we'd talk about challenges. We'd talk about some of the fun things that were going on, all sorts of different things. And so to your point, Brian and Jay, in 2002, we finally decided, you know what, it's the time. And I was really drawn back. I missed real estate. And so I joined the company. And so this coming year would have been my 20th anniversary with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Florida Network Realty. So yeah,
That's awesome.
A great path.
Well, it's interesting. You mentioned, and this is off the track a little, but I'm really curious. First of all, kudos to you for facing your fears, because it can be a daunting task as a young person, which is exactly where you were, facing that public speaking challenge. That is not easy. That's terrific. But I'm curious, you mentioned a couple of times real estate being at that point, you literally grew up with it, and in it, family based. And one of the draws to Berkshire Hathaway that's been there since the beginning is this very theme. And I wonder your thoughts a little bit as we see the Zillows and everything being so virtual, the value that remains in this hands-on, personal, family approach. Could you talk to that a little bit? How do you see that as being valuable in our company?
Absolutely. And, there is one thing I'd like to share on that
Sure.
too, Brian, because you bring up a great point. One of the things that I know for a fact is very different about our franchise, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, is we are a very collaborative, very sharing company. And that is one of the things that makes me so proud to work for this company. When we have people that join us from other companies, whether they're realtors, brokers, or perhaps even in the leadership team, they share how stunned they are by the family feeling, that feeling of warmth, the feeling of, hey, I've got an issue here in New York, and I'm talking with someone in California, and that person is willing to share their entire way of doing business with me. It's that feeling of, yeah, everybody grows when we share with one another. And I think that really sets us apart. But I love what you're talking about, because I think what we need to be very crystal clear on our value proposition, as well as what's going on in the competitive landscape, because we can't be afraid of our competitors. We have to be bold. We have to believe in what we do. And I am such a huge believer in the value of relationships with real estate. And one of the reasons I say that is when you look at some of these companies that are coming out of the woodwork, like the Zillows, the Redfins, et cetera, that want to take that real estate transaction and take it completely online and take away that human connection. They're really trying to take that down to, matter of fact, just last night, I ordered on Amazon. We're going to be a family of rock stars for the Halloween. And so, of course, I had to order chains and all this crazy stuff. And I went on Amazon and very quickly was able to do it. Within 5 minutes, I had everything I needed and I was done. So in my opinion, on something like that, it's very, very easy to take it down to the internet as my main source for purchasing items like that. But think about even a car. Okay, so if I'm buying most cars, I do want to usually go test drive them, especially if I'm doing something that's a little bit aspirational. Even that I don't usually want to buy on the internet. I might want to do some homework on the internet, but I might not want to actually buy that car. And then you take it up a level to real estate. It's people's most expensive investment that they will ever make in their life. Not only that, it's a low frequency event. So it's not me going on, to Amazon to buy chains for Halloween. It's not me going to Target to, buy toothpaste or whatever. It's buying the most expensive asset or selling the most expensive asset that I will ever most likely have. And not only that, but it's also a very emotionally charged transaction. So again, going on Amazon last night, there was no emotion about it. It was super easy. Matter of fact, I would have gotten aggravated if it couldn't have gone like this, right?
Right.
We want that immediacy with something like that. With real estate, we want that to take a little bit longer. We want that to take to have the level of importance and that relationship, that trusted relationship with somebody that I know is going to guide me in the right direction. So while we need to embrace technology 100%, I'm a big proponent of technology. My feeling is that with a low frequency, high risk investment like real estate, that the companies like Zillow and Redfin and some of these others, they have it all wrong. They're going to do okay in this type of market right now. But once we correct to a more normal market, we will see that cool off. And you're already seeing, Zillow with iBuyer, they've already put that on pause.
That's right.
So, yeah. So I think that that's just something for us all to keep in mind.
Well, you mentioned something that's so intriguing. I hadn't heard it put that way. Amazon, they strategize to sanitize and depersonalize. This is their own work model, not something that's a critique, not my words, to sanitize and depersonalize the purchasing process. I mean, they want it to be, like you said, let me get the chain. By the way, that we can't wait to see the posts for this holiday family shot. This would be great. We may hold it against you later, but it's going to be
maybe.
This is terrific. But if, and again, the sanitized to personalized piece, that goal, that because they want to monetize, the more widgets they can sell, the more money Amazon makes. And I get that, but, and I'm curious to build upon this a little bit. One of the things we saw with some of the Pew research was that during and this was probably about 6 weeks ago, I think, middle of September, beginning of September, a Pew research study saying that during COVID, people are craving the personal interaction, but not just the interaction, but advice and guidance. Almost not that they want someone to do something for them, but they want to be in it with someone.
Yes.
With major decisions in their lives. And I just thought that was very telling, because it fits right into what you're saying. This is perhaps the biggest investment of people's lives.
It is. And I couldn't agree with you more. I think right now people are craving that interaction, as well as the guidance that, frankly, especially in the beginning of COVID, wasn't there. Everybody was trying to get up to speed to figure out how to do business.
You're exactly right. So we're picking up skills during this virtual time, but I love this theme that you're talking about. What should we be, if we were to talk to somebody new to real estate or new to Berkshire Hathaway? They know a little about Warren Buffett, perhaps, and what a wonderful symbol and representative for the company, leader, I should say, representative. What else should we be excited about? What else should we be sharing about the company?
So there are a lot of things that are going on right now. And one of the things that I've tried to really do with the team since I joined, and of course it's been since June 1st, really, is focus on a few things and do those few things really well, as opposed to shotgun. And so there are a number of initiatives that we are working on. The first is a brand refresh. And I think that that's really exciting. When I say brand refresh, don't take that to mean that it's a brand overhaul. It's not. We have an incredible brand. It's one that stands for trust, respect, longevity. It's one of the few brands in the world that's as admired as much as it is. So what we're trying to do, though, is when we came out of the gates nearly 8 years ago, we needed to make a real splash with Cabernet and differentiate ourselves from our competitors. And, Cabernet, one of the things that I love about the color is it plays well against the snow, it plays well against the ocean or the waters, and against grass. So, it really does pop off the sign in all of those different, areas. But here we are 8 years later, and now we have, we're really known. When you say Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, people are going, oh yeah, you mean real estate. And it's not just that they mean Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, although they certainly do affiliate us with that, which I love. So we are going through a brand refresh, and we're looking at everything from the logo to the fonts that we use to the color palette. We know that Cabernet will still play a role in it for sure, but it might take a little bit of a back step, because as you probably are aware, and I was keenly aware when I ran our company, it's very hard to make marketing materials look good in mass with a lot of Cabernet. At least that's my opinion. It tends to get muddy and that sort of thing. So we're looking at all of the different marketing that we do, and the guidance that I gave 1000 watt, because we're working with 1000 watt and we're working with BBDO, is that we need to be bold. So in my opinion, when we were Prudential and even Berkshire Hathaway, one of the things that we did, and rightfully so, because we were the only real estate firm that had this incredible brand behind us, whether it was Prudential or now Berkshire Hathaway, which is 10 steps up from Pru. So we leaned real heavily into that, the strength of the brand. And while we need to continue leaning really heavily, we also need to stand on our own. And we need to stand up at the top of the mountain and shout for everyone to hear just how great we are. And so that was the direction that I really gave both of the marketing teams to go, and don't be afraid to take the gloves off a little bit. We need to be bold. We need to be out there and share just how great we are, while at the same time being timeless. So we're not trying to, be just a flash in the pan, certainly not. So very excited about all of that. Out of that, we will also have storytelling that comes out of it. And that, yeah, and that's super powerful. Yes. So real thrilled about that. And both of the companies have gone out and interviewed a number of agents. They just literally pulled names out of hats. They did it digitally, as well as some of our broker owners, to get feedback across the company and see, what everybody's thoughts are on the company. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? They also went out and did a research study with consumers, not just past clients, but also just consumers at large, to find out, what do you think of the brand? And so I'm real eager to hear those results. We don't have them in yet. But yeah, so you're going to see some differences in our marketing. It's real exciting. It's also guiding the path that we take for next year's advertising platform. And one of the things I've been working closely with Wendy Durand on, and I'm a little bit of a marketing person. I love marketing.
That's awesome.
And so, oh, it's so much fun. And she's terrific. I love working with her. So we've been working on, instead of just throwing everybody marketing content at convention and then having that be the content that's used pretty much the rest of the year, what we're doing is we are going to have content that comes out at convention, but then every single month, we're going to have new fresh content that comes out.
Oh, wow, that's excellent.
Yeah, and so it's going to be videos that you guys will be able to put your front and back on. It's also going to be social media images. It's going to be a number of different things. And we're also being very mindful, and I think this is extremely important, that while our brand plays really, really well in the luxury space, over 70% of our business is in that moderate to lower end price points. And so the other thing that you're going to see is us paying a real specific focus to those price points as well.
Excellent.
And I'm so excited about that, because that's incredibly important. It's great that we start with the luxury, because when you start with that, it raises the bar for all of the marketing, despite, regardless of the price point. But you will see that, for example, when we're shooting our ads, one of the things I was mindful of, we met with BBDO, and they were showing basically the inspirations that they plan to use for filming when we do that in December. And I said, this is great, except everything in there looks like it's $1 million plus. And, as Steve Ladd, who is our head, he's our CFO for HSF, he goes, I'd love to see my house in one of these ads. And
awesome.
so we're going to be shooting homes that are more modest in price point as well. So you'll have content to use that's both more aspirational, as well as content of more modest price points. And I'm real excited about that.
And I think that's so critical, because one of the things that that's more evidence of the fact that you're one of us, that you've been in the trenches, when you know that you mentioned 70% plus in that, and we may even be higher than that percentage. So for our client or potential client base, customer base, client base, to be able to identify with Berkshire Hathaway is not just the cream of, the cream or Cabernet of the bunch. To be able to identify is terrific.
Yes, absolutely. To feel included, I think that's important.
Right, kind of represented in that. That's awesome, and that's part of our reach. When you mentioned Wendy Durand being the marketing guru, and she's terrific. One of the things that's gotten me excited that Wendy's been involved with over the years has been the international expansion. That seems to be our reach as Berkshire Hathaway continues to grow. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that is something that we really have our eye on, because domestically, by the way, I have to share with you, we are now in all 50 states.
Wow.
As of last week. So isn't that exciting? Yeah. So here we are domestically. We have a footprint in all 50 states. We definitely have more room for growth in the United States, but globally, that's where our biggest growth is going to come. As a matter of fact, right now, Michael Jalbert is in Rome, and he heads up, he's the senior vice president over franchise sales. He's in Rome as we speak, working with a company that we're going to bring on probably in the next few months. And I'm so excited about that. But yeah, as of today, we are on 3 continents. We are in 12 countries. We have over 16,000 offices. And it's about 54,000 agents globally. Wow. And so it's huge. And right now we also have another 9 companies globally that are in the hopper that we're talking with, that I'm very excited about. Yeah. That we're definitely going to be expanding into. And those include, everything from Belgium, Switzerland, to we're looking at a couple of Asian countries. That part might be a little bit slower just because of COVID.
Sure.
Restrictions have made that somewhat difficult. We're looking at additional locations in France. And then, like I mentioned, Rome. And we just added Cabo San Lucas, as well as what was it? Nassau, Bahamas. So now we're in the Caribbean as well as Cabo San Lucas. So we're really growing our footprint thoughtfully. One of the things that we're not trying to do is throw up offices all over the world just to say we have a presence there.
Sure.
We want them to be profitable, because when you look at most countries and look at the brands that are in them, the profit that comes out of those is negligible, and it really harms the reputation of the brand. And we don't want that. We want it to be additive.
Well, that's outstanding. I know, talking to Michael a few times, he it appeared, it was very gratifying to see that your mission, the mission of the company, or the desire of the company, is to be very very discerning, you know, as you're culling through the number of companies in different places that would love to be part, to look at its stability and profitability, and also, as you said, to be able to hold the standards of Berkshire Hathaway. That's a really huge piece.
You're absolutely right. And that includes cultural things, you know, things that we need to take into consideration as well. So for example, in Saudi Arabia, the Crown Prince really wants us to move into Saudi Arabia. But, you know, the LGBTQ community as well as women are not held in high regard there. And it's, you know, the rights, the human rights issues are pretty extreme. And so that's an area where we say, we're sorry, that's not something that we can take part of, not at this time. So we're hopeful that changes, but until it does, we're not going there.
Let me tell you something. I know we've already said a lot, but that just gives me pause, because it's wonderful to be proud of the company that you work with.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that the values are being put ahead of the dollar signs. That's terrific.
Me too.
That's terrific. I'm curious, because you've counseled agents and run the companies, your company with your mom, and then, you know, had so much influence with realtors hands-on, and as well as being a successful realtor. Despite your decision going to college, right? You did it. You came back in 2002. A word that you've used a few times that I love is aspirational. You know, you mentioned it, whether it's, you know, with a car, with a house, with a career move. We like to think about goals now, to wrap up the year strong and have momentum going into the new year, of course. We want to help encourage our professionals, because we have the greatest group of independent contractors, of realtors anywhere, in our opinion. How do we encourage people? What would you say about wanting to be aspirational, but also to be in a place where you want your goals to be attainable?
Mm-hmm.
What would you have to say?
So Brian, by the way, you should do a podcast. You really should. You're a great interviewer. You're very comfortable with it and very thoughtful in your questions.
Well, thank you. I'll take that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for your team, I just have to tell you, I met with Jay and Brian before this, a couple, like over a month ago now. I can't, the time has gone so quickly.
It flies.
Yeah. But the way that they brag on you all is just so, it gets my heart, because it makes me think of the same, you know, I feel the same way about my own former company. It's your family.
Well, it's a great place to be, I'll tell you. So thank you.
It's amazing how many similarities there are to your company. Yeah, that, you know, for our company. Yeah, family business.
It really are.
Else. Yeah.
Absolutely. So when we look at 2022, there are a couple of things that I've really had my eye on lately. First of all, we are starting to see things slow down just a little bit. And the Northeast showings have slowed down over the last few months. And I always like to look at leading indicators. I think that's really important, because that tells me what's going to happen 3 months from now. Mm-hmm. And so as I'm looking at, and I don't know, do you all look at the showing time reports?
Yes.
Yes, actually, yes.
Good. So that's one of the leading indicators that I really like, and it's proven very reliable over the years. So as I'm looking at that, I am starting to see that showings are slowing down some, which is very common this time of year. But we're also seeing it slow down perhaps a little bit more than we would normally see this time of year. And in addition to that, of course, days on market are starting to creep up just a hair, you know, not anything, not in any large way at all. And listing inventory is going up just a little bit. And that is, in my opinion, really positive.
Absolutely.
It's so positive. And I feel for all of you buyer agents, especially, holy cow, your job this past almost 2 years has just been really, really rough. One of the things one of my agents said to me, and this was not, it was this time last year, actually, it was the beginning of November last year. I was talking about and celebrating how awesome the market was and, how excited I was. And she looked at me and she said, I'm primarily a buyer's agent. And I said, yeah. And she said, it's been a horrible market. And I was like, talk to me. And she said, usually when I go out to show property, when a buyer falls in love with something, they're able to start placing their furniture. They're able to see in their mind's eye their family, having holiday celebrations. And if they have children, their kids' birthday parties. And I'm able to kind of go down that path with them and start celebrating because we know that there's a really good chance we're going to get the contract. Yeah. But she said, now, we're going through 3, 4, 5, 10, depending upon price point and location and all of that. And so instead of having that joyous moment, I'm having to say, you know what, temper your excitement because there's a really good chance you're not going to get this home. Yeah. And she said, it just kills me. So I want you to know that my heart goes out to all of you because when she said that, it just stopped me dead in my tracks. And I went, whoa, okay, that was a really good teachable moment for me because I was excited, but I wasn't putting myself in her shoes. So when I look at 2022, my hope for 2022 is that we do continue to slow down just a little bit. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're going to see a major slowdown. I think that rates are going to continue to tick up just a little bit, and that's going to continue to put some pressure on the market, especially in those more modest price points where it could price people out of the market. Mm-hmm. I do believe that more inventory is going to continue to enter because I think there will be more sellers that will say, you know what, it's still a great time to sell. Maybe it's a little less hectic, but frankly, that could be an even better time for sellers. So one of the things that I'm counseling, and I think it's really, really important because I know your team, much like mine and much like the companies that really make up the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services brand, we are relationship driven. And one of the things that's so easy to do right now is we're working on deals. We finally get a deal together and we're doing everything we can to keep it together. We're going through inspections. We're working, talking buyers off of ledges so that they're not having that buyer's remorse. We're trying to keep sellers at bay because, sellers might have another offer that's coming in that's even higher. And we're all working just really hard to get to that closing table. And so one of the things that tends to go, to the wayside right now is prospecting, right? Mm-hmm. And it's that communication with our prior clients, our sphere of influence. And so in my opinion, what we need to be doing right now to win the game in 2022 is we need to be connecting with our sphere more than ever before. We need, if you don't have a database, you need to really take the time to work on your top, really preferably at least 100, but 50 can be a good start. 50 can be a great start. And that top 50 to 100 or more, those are the people who know you, love you, want to see you succeed. So they're the ones who are singing from the rooftop, want to see you out there just killing it. And the thing that we need to be doing that, in my opinion, is the highest return on investment is real estate reviews. And Brian and I spoke about this a little bit, and I am such a huge proponent of real estate reviews, and here's the reason why. So in real estate, we want to be seen as professionals, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And absolutely. 100%. And yet when we are judged from the outside, how are we judged? We are judged somewhere around used car salespeople, a little bit higher than ambulance chasing attorneys, okay? Right. And that's not good. We need to, our goal and our singular goal is raising the level of professionalism in real estate. So to that end, if we want to be held in the same esteem as our accountants, as our financial planners, and those people are held in pretty high esteem by the public, then we need to be doing the same activities that they are doing with their client base to be held in that regard. So what happens once a year with your CPA and your financial planner? You sit down once a year. Yep. And you review your financial plan, you review where you are, from your tax standpoint and what your plans need to be to shore you up or do things differently to put you in a better position this time next year, right? So
Perfect. Yeah.
that's exactly what a real estate review is. It's becoming that same level of professionalism that we expect out of our financial planners and CPAs. So we go through our list of top 50. And if you're not doing these currently, I encourage you to start with one a week, just one a week. It does not take much time. You do a very simple CMA on a person's property. And keep in mind, that top 50, it doesn't have to be somebody you actually sold a property to. So for those of you that are brand new to the business, these are the people that know you, love you, and want to see you succeed. You might not have sold them the home, but by golly, you can sure give them a real estate review on their home, right?
That's
So
great.
put together this CMA in a very nice professional package. You call them up and you offer your annual service of the real estate review, where you'd like to sit down with them just like they do with their other professionals and review their real estate portfolio. And the key to this is you don't want to email it to them, because what happens to email? We delete it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So say that you have someone who, because of COVID or whatever, says, I'm really not comfortable sitting down. You print it out real nicely. You bring it to their home, leave it on their doorstep, and you create a time where you can do a Zoom meeting with them to walk it through. So that's plan number 2, if you can't get face-to-face. Out of this, 2 out of every 5 that you will do will result in a referral. 2 out of every 5. And I have those numbers based on 3 years of history from Florida Network Realty. And it is the single best thing you can do, because what are you doing there? You are showing your clients, your sphere of influence, that you care about them. You want to make sure that they are in the position that they want to be in terms of their real estate holdings. And it's not an appointment to try and get a listing at all. It's merely to review their real estate holdings, let them know the value of those holdings. And here's where you can take it even a step further. Say that they own property in California or Texas. Get on the phone with one of your colleagues across the nation, or even outside of the nation, if they're, say in Italy or something like that, and get them to do a CMA on the property that's in that location, so that you can update that as well, and possibly even have them on a call with you. So talk about a powerful statement to that client or friend or whomever it is. And then here's the next step that you do. You print out 2 extra copies, and it has your contact information on it, big and bold. And you ask that client of yours to, the next time that they go to meet with their CPA or their financial planner, to make sure that they bring the copy to them. Because what's the one thing that's missing from a CPA meeting or a financial planner meeting? They don't know real estate. They don't know it the way you do. So how much better will that advice be from the CPA and from the financial planner when they're able to insert the information that you give? And here's the thing about that. And I know I keep saying, here's the thing.
No, this is awesome.
Well, this is the best part. Nobody else is doing it.
That's
No
right.
one. No one. And it's entirely relationship focused, And doing this 1 per week, you do it religiously once per week. You still get a couple of weeks off a year. Get 1 per week. It takes you no more than about 4 hours total out of your entire week. And that's 4 hours of quality time, because the CMA itself takes what, an hour for a simple CMA, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, so the rest is just getting the appointment, sitting face to face, hopefully with that client, and spending really great time and getting at least 2 referrals out of every 5 that you do.
This is absolutely brilliant. And it's simplicity, but also one of the things that we get criticized for is that, we don't want to be conditioning our clients, our client base, our COI, that every time we call, we're going to be wanting something.
Yes.
This real estate review, whether in person, ideally, or as you said, as plan B or 2 could be via Zoom, this is pure value. This is pure service.
Yes.
Yes, this is brilliant. And for a lot of our agents who are either newer or haven't been doing a ton of deals during this last couple of years, let's just say, what a great way to shore up your knowledge of the market and your pricing skills.
Absolutely. And to show value to that sphere that, again, they want to see you succeed. So to me, this is one of the things that I would always encourage newer agents that don't have a book of business yet, because, you know, I can guarantee the clients that you will meet with, your friends, family, etc., they've never had anybody do this with them. That it just isn't done. People don't
Nobody
take
else
the
is
time.
doing it.
Yeah.
This is terrific.
And it fits in nicely, I think, Brian, with the unsolicited video CMAs that we've had varying degrees of success with some of our agents. I don't know if that's something you want to speak
No, absolutely. I mean, you know, Jimmy Burgess has been,
Yeah,
as
Jimmy.
you know well, Jimmy.
I love him.
You know, Jimmy's done a session for us as a company on his unsolicited CMAs, and then also he referenced them to some degree in the session, the IQ session that he did with Bob Watson last week, which I was happy to sit in on. And, you know, again, nobody's doing them. The
Yeah.
piece that is a little bit different that I kind of lean toward what you're talking about, and it's not one or the other, but it's just, I really think that if we can get it into the hands of people and sit across a dining room table, you know, 6 feet or more if we have to, but you know, we're getting, you know, we're edging our way, hopefully, God willing, toward this healthier world. So, I mean, I just think that people self-report that they want the connection.
They do, that interpersonal connection. And then also think about, again, the financial planners and the CPAs.
Yeah,
If they're seeing this come from one of your agents, when they have somebody that's looking for real estate services, who do you think they're going to recommend?
that's great. Absolutely. Right when you're in front of them. I'm curious, you know, and I know I'm going to respect time too. I asked for like a half hour, 45 minutes. We're already at 45. But I want to, if you don't mind, could I squeeze in 2 quick questions?
Yeah, of course.
All right. One is a few people have asked about the CRM, and I know I have a little hint about that from you from our meeting about a month ago.
Mhm.
Could you bring us up to speed? There's something kind of cool being worked out now, right?
Yes. So
I hope I
again,
didn't let the cat out of the bag too quick.
no, you didn't, Brian. I'm not going to guarantee timeframes on this, because one of the things that I have promised all of our CEOs across the brand is that I will never, ever, ever launch something before it's ready to come out again. That's just not going to happen. That's insanity. And so, and for our HSF employees too, I want them to get pats on the back and attaboys and attagirls because they launched something, you know, just spectacularly well.
Excellent.
So yes, the CRM, when, you know, Chris Stewart is a phenomenal leader, and his history is technology and not real estate. And so one of the conversations I had with him over, you know, a while was that I just really, because I tried to use Sage, but I really ran into some roadblocks with it. And so I would talk it through with him, and just one of the questions I would ask is, why are we trying to invent something ourselves? Our specialty is real estate. That is what we do. That's our, you know, relationships, selling real estate and all the things that go with it. That's our purview. And he really believed, and I understand why, because if you build something yourself, then nobody else has it, and it's just yours. But my belief is a little bit different than that. I don't believe we can be afraid that another company is going to buy into the same solution that we do. If it's that good, then nobody will execute it as well as we do. So I'm not concerned about it. So one of the first things that I did when I joined the HSF team was sit down with our tech team and say, talk to me, what's going on here? And the level of frustration from them was pretty high. And it's because regardless of what they tried to do, Salesforce is it is the #1 in the world CRM, but it's made for employees. It is not made for independent contractors who are going to use it intermittently or at a level that suits your business. It's made for somebody that clocks in and is being told, you must use this software. And so they have to get used to it because it is their job to get used to it. It doesn't use real estate language. And that's one of the things that's really important. We know we speak a different language in real estate.
That's right.
And it's not intuitive. So one of the things that we did immediately was we decided that we are going to sunset the Sage CRM. And If you're using it right now, keep using it, because we will be able to port everything over to the newly selected CRM. But we joined forces with HSOA and decided to go, and when I say that, I shouldn't use that acronym, Home Services of America,
Yep.
so which is our parent company. And the reason we just chose to join forces with Home Services of America is we've got a number of huge companies that make up Home Services of America, plus combined the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Company, which gives us incredible buying power of 98,000 agents versus 54.
Wow.
So we decided to work with them and very closely, and we have identified the new CRM. We are in the midst of negotiating the details of the contract right now, so I'm not allowed to release the name.
Okay.
But it is one that is incredibly powerful. And the thing that I like about it, I kind of laughingly say this, I love technology, I'm good at technology, but I have no patience for anybody having to show me technology. If it's not intuitive enough for me to figure out, then I don't want to have to deal with it. So
that sounds familiar.
yeah, I'm sure it does. So it passed the Christy test. I got on and I was able to do everything that I wanted to do because it is very intuitive. And there are a couple of other things I love about it. Say that you're a large team or an individual that wants to make this the absolute brains of your business. It's powerful enough to be able to handle that for our top agents, top teams that want to do everything through their CRM. But there are a number of agents that really want to just be able to load up their database and do drip campaigns, make sure that they have the calendared events and things like that. They want to use it in more of a rudimentary fashion, and it's very, very easy to use from that standpoint as well. So to me, the thing I love about it is it services both ends of the spectrum. And it also includes a CMA component that I'm excited about. It's something that they're continuing to build out, but it's there right now and it's already in a really great format, but it's also something they're continuing to work on. So.
Well, that's really encouraging. Wow.
It is.
Well, and here's the last thing I have to, I have a comment to make after my last question, if you're okay. My question is, could we rope you into coming back down the line a little bit and visiting again online with us?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good.
Yeah, when you said down the line, I'm like, are we going to go climb rocks together? Or...
Well, something, we could do that.
Yeah, I'm game.
But if
no, absolutely, I would love to.
Well, I have to tell you, it is absolutely refreshing. I didn't expect to throw this last piece in, but I have to make an observation, if you don't mind. Then I will respect the time. We're a little late, but you've been wonderful.
Oh, it's okay.
The 2 times you've said something, you've brought up a phrase that I think encapsulates why this has been so refreshing. And one was with your buyer's agent in Florida, and the other was with your tech team. You said the words "talk to me," which means you have this natural, like Walt Whitman talked about curiosity being so important. You have this natural curiosity to make things. It's not just, create this focus group and bring me the 7 points that are most important. No, you're a practitioner. You're in the trenches. Talk to me about what you need.
Yeah.
That's really huge for us because we, it makes you as CEO not that far away for us,
Yeah, no, we're in it together.
Yeah. This was really terrific. And on behalf of everybody and an awful lot of folks that are going to watch it on replay and meetings and training, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah. Thank you, Christy.
It's been a wonderful
time. We're in good hands.
And everyone's going to be trying to see the Halloween pictures. So I just wanted to warn you ahead of time. Have a great day.
And I just want to remind, go ahead, Christy.
Friend me on Facebook or Instagram, and
right.
Yeah, you'll definitely see them there. It might be kind of crazy looking.
Will do.
It's awesome. Jay, did you have something? I didn't want to.
I know. I just want to remind everybody we will be back together as a group in just over 2 weeks, right, Brian? With Lawrence.
Thank you. Yes, I got. So yes, Christy, and you're welcome. Because of course you have such an open schedule and 54. We feel very special that you came on with us. Lawrence Yoon is going to be joining us in a couple of weeks.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, he's terrific as the senior economist for NAR, and he was just great about a year ago. About 8 months ago, I guess. Yeah, and he was terrific, and so he's going to be coming back. But he's got a tough act to follow, Christy. So thank you again, and I hope everybody has a great weekend.
Thank
Happy
you
Halloween,
all.
everybody.
Happy
Thank you,
Halloween.
Christy.
Bye bye.
Good to meet you.
Have a great afternoon.
Thanks.
Bye,
Take care.